Today we'll see who's in the lead to replace Mitch McConnell in the Senate in Kentucky. It's very likely to go Republican, so that's where all the focus is going to be. And we've got a brand new Emerson poll out from yesterday. And there's no clear answers. It's a split. And it's not just a two-way, it's a three-way. Here's what we've got. Congressman Andy Barr is in the lead in this one with just 24%. Former AG Daniel Cameron is right there with 21. Then you've got businessman Nate Morris at 14. But look at the bottom here, undecided is at 38%. So this thing is totally wide open. A year ago, I assumed it was likely to be Cameron. He had the Trump backing, and he got close, but he didn't beat Andy Beshear when he ran for governor in 23. But he was young, he had the energy, it seemed like he was kind of a rising star. But now it looks like he has some stiff competition here. So there's a little bit more here with some of the demographics, but we're going to go down here and take a look at the Democrats. The two in the running here have both been through this before. They've both been the nominee, and they both lost bad in the general election. Charles Booker, he was more progressive. Amy McGrath, more moderate. Booker's in the lead with 30%. McGrath is at 19. But again at the bottom, a plurality, 43%. They don't know who they're going to vote for. So whichever one of them is going to be the nominee is likely to take the loss in November. Some of the polling might show it on the outside of being competitive, like we've seen in some past years. But in the end, it would be a gigantic upset if this seat flipped. Their best bet was with Governor Andy Beshear, but he's not going to take that risk because he might have national ambitions and he was still likely to lose anyway. So what about some job approvals? Well, look at this. We've got Donald Trump. He's at 53% approved, 39 disapproved. It's a pretty red state, so it's not a shock, but we're not used to seeing those kinds of positive numbers for Trump. Andy Beshear is right behind with his approval at 52, but his disapproval is a little lower at 31. Senator Rand Paul is 2 points under at 30 and 32. 38% are neutral. And of course, we know Mitch McConnell seriously underwater, 68% disapprove. You're not going to find a lot of places with this kind of crossover approval rating, where they like Trump and they like their Democratic governor. Beshear's approval rating is at 81% with Democrats. With independents, it's 50. 48% of voters think tariffs are more harmful to the economy. 43% think they're beneficial. The most important issue facing the state is the economy at 39%. But with Republicans, it's way higher at 47. 28 for the Dems. Dems are more concerned about threats to democracy, 23-7, and healthcare, 19-12. Housing affordability is even at 10. So this is Emerson. Some people like him, some people are skeptical. But let's take a look at this race on Wikipedia. If we go down here and take a look at the primary candidates, there's a ton of them. Most of them are no-namers. But if we look at the endorsements here, it's just Wikipedia, but Andy Barr has a bunch of them lined up. Nate Morris has some himself, and those I think are going to lean a little bit more conservative. And you'll notice that Daniel Cameron actually has none here on Wikipedia. And if you look at the fundraising, Cameron is way behind. He's only at 1.6 million. Barr and Morris are both over 6. So this race is completely fluid. If we take a look at the polling history here for just the primary, Cameron's been in the lead in every one of them up until this recent Emerson one. You go back a year ago, Cameron was in the lead by double digits, but he was still not at 50%. Meanwhile, Morris has got his support up from low single digits up to the mid-teens. But as the race has heated up, so have the undecideds. So this could be an all-out brawl. Somebody's going to have to jump out and make a name for themselves. Maybe they're going to hope for that Trump endorsement. And again, here are the Dems, but there's not a whole lot to see here. Booker has the coveted DeVal Patrick endorsement, and even James Carville has decided to weigh in on this race. The campaign finance here is not super current, but the polling here does show Booker with an unconvincing lead. Of course, this race is rated as solid R by all the prediction sites, and PPP has a poll out from December that shows the Republicans in the lead in every one of these races. The closest was Nate Morris against Booker, where Morris was only in the lead by 1. That's likely going to be due to Morris's lower name ID. And if you want to see what happened recently in this race, well, here is Amy McGrath against Mitch McConnell. It looked like in the months leading up to the election it could be competitive, but in the end it wasn't. It was a blowout for McConnell by almost 20%. And if you want to go for the progressive route, we've got Booker here in 22 against Rand Paul. The margin was even wider. Paul is up to 62%. We all know some states favor the Dems, some are competitive. This one totally favors the Republicans. Let's wind it down by taking a look at the prediction market. And this kind of reflects the polling. Andy Barr is in the lead, but he's only at 41%. Here Cameron is in third at 27. Nate Morris clocks in second place at 34. So you can see at what point this race really started to narrow up. We're looking at about a few weeks ago. And how about the Dems? Here Booker is in the lead. He's at 46. McGrath is at 24. So a lot of unanswered questions here in the Senate for Kentucky. But the one question that's probably the most important question is actually already answered. That's going to be who's going to win this race. Republicans at 91%, Dems at 9. I'm not expecting a lot of action in this race because it's a pretty red state. But if you were wondering if this race had a chance at being competitive, this says not really. So that's what we've got for for the Senate, McConnell is out. Somebody's going to replace him. The question is, which Republican is it going to be? And can the Dems even get this thing down into single digits in a blue wave year? We'll find out later this year. For now, let me know in the comments. Which Republican is going to become that nominee? Is Trump going to make an endorsement? What about the Dems? Are they going to lose by 20, 15, maybe less? Let me know what you think about that poll from Emerson down below. On your way out, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join if you'd like to support the channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.